In 1999, an exhibition was set up in Berlin in the rooms of an old workshop that had belonged to a man known as Otto Weid. The exhibit was entitled Blindes Vertrauen, Blind Trust. Otto Weid was a hard-working wallpaper hanger and upholsterer. One day Otto noticed that he was quickly going blind and could no longer do that work. As his eyes became progressively worse and blindness set in, he did not give up, but simply learned another trade and opened a workshop to make brooms and brushes. He knew what it was like to go through life without seeing, and this opened his eyes to others facing similar challenges. Although he was not Jewish, he heard about the Jewish Home for the Blind and decided to offer the people there an opportunity. He began to hire the blind, the deaf, and the mute from the Jewish home. Over the next 3 years, he was able to give employment to about 30 people and teach them the same skill he had learned. The blindness they shared allowed them to understand each other on a whole different level. These were difficult times in Germany, as the Nazi regime was cracking down more and more on the Jewish population. As all the Jews began to be arrested and deported, Otto was very concerned about the fate of his workers and worked tirelessly to protect them. He became the self-appointed guardian angel of the Jewish blind. To save them, he would falsify documents, use all the valuables he had to bribe officers, and hide his employees and their families in secret lodgings. He sold many of his things on the black market to have money to feed them, risking his own life at every turn. When one was caught and sent to Auschwitz, he even made the journey there to help her escape. He seemed fearless and has been called the blind Schindler. After the war was over, he founded an orphanage for survivors of the concentration camps. He had spent his life showing that, with a loving heart, the impossible can be achieved. The blind can indeed lead the blind. His eyes may have been closed in blindness, but his extraordinary heart was open enough to see the sufferings of fellow human beings and compassionate enough to reach out and help. Otto Weid was anything but blind. Those whose hearts are closed are the real blind, and it is they who lead other closed hearts into a pit. It is not the eyes which allow us to see, nor is it the ears that allow us to hear. It is the heart, always the heart, which can open itself to the light and to the cries of those in need. Living is easy with eyes closed. The poignant words of John Lennon point to a very large part of the human population of this planet. How many are blessed with perfectly healthy eyes, but choose to shut those eyes to the misery around them? How many are blessed with excellent hearing, but are incapable of listening? And how many pits have been filled with leaders leading the led over the edge of silent darkness? Yes, a blind person can lead a blind person. But there is a blindness that reaches far deeper than the eyes, a blindness that closes the human heart, rendering it incapable of the love it was made to share. I once read a charming line in a work by Wayne Gerard Trotman. And the blind man said to the deaf man, "Do you see what I hear?" I would gladly be led by either of these two wise men, blind and deaf as they may be, blind and deaf as I may be. But when a heart that has closed attempts to lead, it can only lead me in a direction I do not wish to go.